Hi, I'm attachment specialist Adam Lane Smith, and today I want to talk to you about marriage, specifically running your marriage like a business. Now, when I say that, a lot of people say that sounds like the worst idea on earth, and that's fine. Let's talk about it. First up, when you watch this video, by the end of it, you should understand how to improve communication in your marriage, how to build intimacy, and how to optimize your relationship so that you solve problems ahead of time before they become anything big you have to worry about. Does that sound pretty good? Might be worth thinking about business then. So, talking about business, I'm going to relate our marriages in this to a restaurant because most of us have been to a restaurant. Maybe you've watched Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares. I love that show. And that makes sense for us. We can figure out a restaurant. It's also, I don't want to say it's a little easier than other industries, but it's simpler in the way that they run typically. Now, restaurants, and I'm going to do a bad job of this, so anyone in the restaurant industry, please forgive me for this. But generally speaking, restaurants are divided into two sections. The front of house, which manages customer relationships, including taking orders, feeding the customers, handling complaints, all of that in hospitality. And the back side, the chefs, the cleaning, the ordering, everything back there. Those are two separate areas, and they're divided by those cool double swinging doors that we're all used to on television. This is a restaurant. This is a restaurant. It just so happens that one side manages relationships and networking, and one side manages supply and fuels the rest of it. Both must work together because you can't have a restaurant without both. It just does not function. But there are two separate spheres, two separate roles. Marriages tend to work the same way. If you think of traditional marriages between men and women tend to take care of the relationships. They're actually the front end of the house, which is weird because in restaurants, it's mostly waitresses out in the front. In the back is the men fueling the supplies, fueling whatever might be going on, taking care of the dirty work. That's in the back. And again, this is traditional marriage. Not every marriage is going to function this way. Sometimes you have the men and the women switching places. You have other relationship and other gender dynamics. You have all kinds of stuff going on. Let's just focus, instead of who's in what role, on the fact that there are typically is one member in each role. And that usually is especially the case if there's children involved, because both people can switch roles back and forth or do both in their own turn. But when you have children involved, one person typically gets not stuck, but stuck in some ways with heavy duty care roles, and the other person gets involved in other roles. You may even be running two restaurants together that are linked. Whatever the case may be, let's talk about running a restaurant and how that relates to marriage. In marriage, like in a restaurant, you need ongoing communication. Now think about a restaurant that has zero communication between the front of house and back of house. If the chef is not telling the front of house that they have run out of a certain kind of dish, and that's the most popular dish in the front, that's going to go really badly. If the front of house is not placing orders correctly, if they're not managing relationships out here correctly, if there's no communication between the front and back of house, your restaurant falls apart. People are going to stop coming because their orders are wrong. They're not getting their food. They're waiting 2 hours. Again, you've watched Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares. You understand a bad restaurant. If you haven't, go watch one, and it's great for marriage. When those two sides don't communicate effectively, when they don't do their roles, when they're resentful of each other, that restaurant will be destroyed. That's bankruptcy. The same can happen in marriage. Bankruptcy in marriage could be divorce, but bankruptcy in marriage can also be living together for 60 years, not liking each other, sex once a year because you have to, and barely speaking. That's also bankruptcy. You must either win together or lose together. That's it. Those are your two options. And loss looks like a lot of things, unfortunately. What you need to do is take the lessons from a restaurant. So whoever is running the front of house and whoever is running the supply side in the back, you need to talk. How does a restaurant work? Well, they created a division of labor. First of all, who does what? Who is handling what tasks so that nothing ever falls through the cracks and people don't say, oh, I thought you were doing that. No, I thought you were. Division of labor. Clear, explicit division of labor, whatever that looks like in your relationship. This is less A little bit less important for people who don't have children. It's very important for people who have children. And if you're in a generational home, it's incredibly important because you might have 5, 10 people in a household. Everyone's assuming everybody else is doing the job. Usually one person starts picking up the slack and they get really resentful. If you've done any school projects in the past, you may have been the person, because you're watching a video to get better, you might have been the one person who had to do all of the work while everybody else took the credit. That can happen in a marriage. It can happen in a restaurant. It can happen anywhere. Make sure that isn't happening in your marriage. Set up a clear division of labor with whatever that looks like. Have somebody in a relationship taking out the trash. Have somebody washing the dishes. Have somebody running the front of house. There's 2 different managers there. There's 2 different heads. Have people managing different areas and handling different tasks. Communication is key also. If the 2 sides are not communicating, they are done. Both sides will lose. That's just the way that goes. If the back of house and the front of house do not communicate, they're done, and the same happens in marriage. Now, most of us in marriage think that if we have a conversation about how our marriage is going, it's going to call up so many problems that the other person is going to realize this marriage isn't working and we're done. It goes from, hey, how do you feel about our marriage, to we're over in 10 minutes. That's the fear, which means our marriage is only held together by never acknowledging that we're in a marriage. How's that going to work? It's not. Don't do that. So when I was a licensed marriage and family therapist, before I retired, I told people once a month, go out together, sit at a restaurant, ironically, sit at a restaurant, have lunch together, and say, where are we at? Where are we at in our marriage? Not where are you at? Where are we at in our marriage? What's our marriage look like from your side? And what can we do about whatever problems you see coming up? Let's work on them together. Now that, most people, that'll send a chill up your spine and you'll shiver in terror. And that's okay, because you love your partner. You love them so much you're afraid of losing them. Don't let that make you lose them, because that can happen. The state of the marriage, just like the president of the United States gets up and gives the State of the Union, the state of the marriage you need to discuss at least once a month. How are things going for you? How are things going in our marriage? What can we do differently? Not what can I do or what can you do? What can we do differently? We language, way more powerful than me and you. Way more powerful. A lot of times therapists will teach I language, I feel. And that could be helpful, but now it's so overplayed that when you say I feel, the other person already is instantly locked up. We. Problems we face that we need to fix together. The moment you shift to you, it becomes really combative. The moment you switch to I, it kind of disentangles you from the other person. We. Where's our marriage at from your perspective? Sometimes you have to. Where's our marriage at from your perspective, and what can we do to meet those needs better? What needs do you have that I can fulfill? Now me, in my marriage, I'll explain a little bit briefly. My wife and I are expecting our 4th child. Tell you what, division of labor is really crucial, because I've had to run multiple businesses during that time. There's times where I've been working 70 hours a week. There's times where she is on childcare 24/7, barely gets any sleep. I have to step into her roles. There's multiple times that we have faced struggles that could have disrupted our marriage if we didn't have the State of the Union discussion every month. Hey, how are things going? How are you holding up? Are you still alive? Is anyone alive out there? Sometimes the talk looks like that, and that's okay. What needs do you have? Well, I need this. Okay, well, that's going to be really tough for us to do. We can't do it every day. Could we do that every couple of days? Because I want to make sure you get that met. Sometimes just hearing that is helpful in the short term. Acknowledging the need is not getting met and trying to find a way that you can, and making a deal together and saying, you know what, we can't do that right now, but let's do that in 3 days. I can't do that for you right now, but let's do that in 3 days. Sometimes it means outsourcing. If your partner's shoulders are really hurt and sore and stiff, and you love rubbing their shoulders, but there has just been no time and they're physically hurting, outsource it. Send them to a spa for the day. You may have to work, but maybe your partner has an hour free. Outsource them. Pamper them a little bit. Pamper each other. Love each other. Front of house and back of house. They might send each other small gifts. They show appreciation. They thank each other at the end of the night. Thank you for working so hard. You know what? When it's cleaning time, they all clean the restaurant together. Division of labor doesn't completely fall apart, but they all become cleaners and they take care of the business that they run together. They value the business they run together and they have pride in the business they run together. You should have pride in your marriage, the two of you together. You should have pride in that restaurant. Your marriage should run like a business. That seems like it will bleed all the romance out. Instead, what it does is it clears all the obstacles out so that you can enjoy the romance more. You can enjoy the intimacy more. When there's clear division of labor, clear communication, everybody's working together, there's constant meeting of needs, there's constant pride in that marriage. Now you can have more intimacy. Now you can have more romance because you respect each other. You don't resent each other. You believe in each other. You know the other person has your back, and you're running a successful marriage and household and family together. That's huge. That's huge. That's why business works so well when it tacks onto marriage as those principles go. That's why so many business principles work perfectly for marriage. That's why. Marriage is just more. It's business plus, which makes sense. If you can view your marriage this way, if you can approach your marriage this way, if you can work on your marriage with relationship communication like you would in a business, with relationship roles, with humility, working together, with meeting those needs and getting needs met as a team, you can do it. You can do this. That will optimize your marriage. If you can focus on doing that, great. Please do it. Thank you for watching. If this has been helpful, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Today, I want you to go ahead and leave me a comment with whatever you think, because this is a hot topic. A lot of people jump on and say this is the dumbest idea they have ever heard in their life. Marriage should never run like a business, and Adam has no idea what he's talking about. I get that a lot. And yet, the couples that have come into my room as a therapist, when I worked as a marriage therapist, on the edge of divorce, and I taught them these principles, came back from divorce, and had wonderful marriages afterward. This clears up all the problems so your marriage can flourish. Give it a try and leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you. Till next time.